My name is Jordan Greynolds. I'm from Barberton, Ohio. I work in the Office of Spiritual Formation, and as you can see, I've been delivered. So if I could make my ultimate starting five of biblical characters, this would be my lineup. At point guard, I got to go with Moses. He's out here splitting the seas. He's going to direct the traffic on the court. I feel good about him running my point. At the shooting guard, I got to go with a shooter. I need someone who's a sharp shot. That's David. We saw him slinging that thing and killing Goliath. So we got him at the shooting guard spot. At the three, I need someone reliable, someone who knows what they're doing, and I'm gonna go with Father Abraham for that. He's rock solid. Feeling good about him. At the four spot, I'm gonna need someone with some power. I think we're gonna go with Peter. I feel like Peter could set some good screens. I mean, Jesus didn't nickname him the Rock for nothing. I think if Jesus had somebody screening for him, it's gonna be Peter. I'm not gonna do a cop-out answer and put Jesus in the starting five. He's our coach. We look to him in all things. He's coaching us out there. We pray with him. But at the five spot, this could be controversial because some people might think I'm going to go to Goliath, but I'm not going to do that because the Lord wasn't with him. I'm going to go with Samson. Samson's a big, strong man, and he made some mistakes along the way, but he always had God on his side. So I'm going with him to anchor down the paint at the five. All right, so my pregame hype song, either for a basketball game or for a Bible study, I'm gonna go with, this is a deep cut. If any of you guys know this out here, you're awesome and really, really cool. If you don't, get hip. It's called Carnival of Crows. It's by the Parlor Mob. They've got only three, I think a fourth album's coming out soon. They're a very unknown band, but they're one of the most unbelievably talented bands I've ever heard in my life. They play some real good, hard, classic sounding rock. Carnival of Crows, it'll get your blood going. That's my running song. Anything that I'm gonna listen to before a game or Bible study, it's got to get my blood going a little bit. So Carnival of Crows, Parlor Mob, that's my pick. So most creative icebreaker I've used for a Bible study. It was lengthy, to say the least. Deli was there for it. It was our very first fellowship night in the BC Lounge back in the day. Feels like ancient history at this point. We had everybody line up. We had two teams, and so each person is drawing on a person's back, and you go down the row and try and show the next person what is being drawn on your back. Finally, the first person in the line is trying to draw it on a whiteboard. We did, I think, Patrick and SpongeBob as the things people were trying to draw, and I was trying to find the picture just now. I couldn't find it. The final drawings of both were horrible, and we took up so much time doing this icebreaker. So while it was my most creative, and I feel good about that, it also made us go half an hour over time because we took so long getting it done. So that was my most creative icebreaker. My funniest memory from college basketball, I debated even telling this story, but all I'll say is in this story, we were just a couple of weeks into our careers being college athletes, and one of the freshmen I came in with, he had a great night, but sometimes great nights don't end so well. So his night ended up in the hospital, and there are just some really funny quotes from that night. There were some medical people trying to give him attention. As they tried to move him out of his bed, he may have swung some limbs around, saying, "You can't touch me, you don't have the right," among other things. So it was a pretty memorable weekend. The results of it were all of us had to do kind of a punishment as a team. We were carrying weights above our heads, running up and down the stairs, running laps. It wasn't the most fun kind of consequence, but a memorable story nonetheless. All right, what inspired me to take the role of discipleship and outreach coordinator? That's a good question that requires just a little bit of a story. So really, I'm from Ohio, as you heard in the intro. I ended up all the way out here in California because I came out here to do this ministry internship that the CCO who I work for, they call it a fellowship year. I came out here, did the fellowship year, which meant I was doing ministry in its totality at places like Fresno State, Fresno Pacific, and Fresno City, all with the intention of using it as a discernment year to figure out if ministry was something I was called to long term. Ultimately, I had a really great fellowship year being at Fresno Pacific. Really hit it off with a lot of students. It's probably the year I met Deli. Know a lot of the people that I've been close with here for quite a while now. So really got some great traction in my first year out here with a lot of the FPU students. And then ultimately, after some discernment and some prayer, I knew God was calling me to be here long term in Fresno. I had no idea what that meant, where I was going to work, where I was going to live, anything like that, but went ahead and said yes to staying in Fresno. And then lo and behold, about 3 months after making that decision to stay, the job that I currently have here at FPU became available. And it was just a shock to me because I didn't expect them to make any new positions, and it was really like the perfect job for me, and I still feel that way to this day. It's like my favorite thing I could be doing with my time is being here, and so it was really cool to trust God in a discernment process and then see Him provide the opportunity seemingly out of nowhere. So that is what led me to be here doing discipleship and outreach. So how has leading a Bible study impacted my faith journey? I would say personally for me, along with things like just digging into the Word more, being more creative in how I read it and interpret it, and just getting better at leading. It's really the way it's impacted me most personally is just being more vulnerable with students. That's something I found in ministry that ultimately, from my vantage point, I want students to be open and honest with me. I want to talk about real things that are going on, things they're struggling with, things that they're celebrating, their hopes, their dreams. And I can't get students to open up if I'm not willing to open up myself. So just learning to be vulnerable, being open about past experiences and realizing I was in college not very long ago. I remember like it was just yesterday, and I'm talking to people who are in college right now. And so being able to relate with them all comes with a certain level of vulnerability and willingness to open up. So that has been something that I've been pushed in and has helped me in my faith journey of realizing I can't be superficial and grow at the same time. I've really got to be real with those I'm doing accountability with if I actually want to see real personal growth. So that's definitely been the way I've been most impacted leading Bible studies here. So if I could give one piece of advice to students pursuing faith here in college right now, what I would say is do it in community and rely on other people. That's something that was greatly impactful for me in my college experience. I definitely came into college as a faithful believer in Jesus Christ, but I wasn't doing my faith walk actively with anybody else coming into college. It really took having my own campus minister on my campus being intentional with me and helping me realize that my walk wasn't just alone with Jesus. Nobody just walks alone with Jesus. You got to do that with other people as well in the sense of having community around you. So that's what I would say. Whether you're somebody who already is someone of faith, learn to bring others into that, learn to have accountability partners, learn to have people you study the Word with, people that you eat meals with, and do life together with. And if you're somebody who is still figuring out faith and you're not strong in that yet, again, still just lean on community, because one of my favorite phrases I've heard since doing ministry is make sure you make it possible for people to belong before they believe. A lot of people, I could come to somebody and give them all the right answers and tell them what the truth of the matter really is, but if they don't have any real connection to me, they're not part of any real community, they have no reason to really take my word for anything more than a grain of salt. So inviting people into community, making sure that they belong. Once you have that bond and trust between two people, then when you give advice and input into their life, they actually trust it and they want to hear what you have to say because you form that community and that bond with them. So one way or another, just be part of the community is what I would say. So as some people know, I played college basketball in Pennsylvania. And so the question is, how has playing basketball kind of shaped my faith and leadership. So I would say for me, basketball's taught me a lot of things that in some ways I'm not a natural leader. I let things slide sometimes with other people. Like I'll hold myself to some standards and, let other people get by with things. And so in the sense of leadership, I've learned that sometimes you just have to say the uncomfortable thing and just call out what you know is true and, and hold people accountable. That's not natural for me, but that's something I've learned. And in the sense of impacting my faith as well, it's definitely taught me that just because you want something to happen doesn't mean it's gonna, and that has nothing to do with like God messing things up for you. A lot of times, we kind of expect if I pray enough about this, it'll just happen at some point. God can teach us all sorts of lessons throughout our athletic careers, and for me, some of the things I had to learn came through failures, of things not going the way I wanted, having to take many years sometimes to figure out why that happened, and then in some cases looking back on it be like, oh, I'm actually glad the outcome I was hoping for didn't happen, because such and such might have happened after that. Where would my head have been after all of that? So God will humble you in sports, and things don't always have to go according to your plan for them to be going according to his plan. So one of the ways we try and keep faith engaging and relevant for students on campus is just a lot of the efforts through fellowship. We have 5 affinity groups through OSF right now. That's luckily the one I get to oversee the most and have the most input with. So one of the things we're doing this semester is trying to do like meals and everything together. So we meet in the Strauss basement. We want people to start coming. We're going to start our times at 7 o'clock. We want people to just come through 6:30, come through a little bit early. We're going to have food there. We had pizza our first week. This last week we made homemade milkshakes. Just come through, have a meal together with us. That's one of the ways I feel like we can make faith most relevant, because community and bonding never goes away. We don't necessarily have to be the most up to date with every trend and everything in order to be relevant, but community is always going to be relevant. So that's one of the ways we try and make it real for everybody who's involved. So a small daily habit that strengthened my relationship with God is about as small as it gets, and that's literally just opening up the Bible app every day. I get into like streaks and stuff, like back in the day when I was a kid and I had Snapchat. I know some of you guys still have Snapchat, so I don't mean to call you kids, but back in the day, like you used to have the snap streak with people. You might be on Duolingo, you keep a streak going. Well, I don't know if you guys know it, but the Bible app has the same thing. They got the little lightning bolt, and you keep your tally and everything. So that's been one thing for me, is like once I start a streak like that, I don't want to break it. So I got myself to start a streak on the Bible app, and it honestly does help me, even if it's just getting on and reading the verse of the day, because at the end of the day, if I read it and I sit there and I think about it, now God's seeping into my life, and that could impact me for the rest of the day, and just centers me, early on in the day. So that's a really simple thing that I do that helps me, that I would recommend for you guys. So one of the struggles of being tall, people might not think about all the time. Honestly, there's way more advantages. I don't wish to be any shorter than I am. It's so nice that I'm in a crowd and I can see over everybody else, and I've come to realize that's not the vantage point everybody else has. Most people in a crowd are literally looking at necks and backs all the time. I'm looking over everybody and scanning, so I don't wish to be any shorter. But one of the struggles, definitely like length of sleeves. There's so many. You guys will probably always see me like wearing a button-up shirt of some sort on campus, and if you ever see like the sleeves rolled up, it's not because like I'm trying to add extra like style or be cool. It's because literally if I had it unbuttoned all the way, like it would be like right here on my arm. I'd be walking around with some short sleeve, too short of long sleeves, and I'd look silly. So that's one of them. And I would say for pants as well. Like I hate shopping for pants. It's a hassle. Those are the struggles of being tall. All right, so this is a personal question. What is harder, proposing in marriage or guarding Victor Wembanyama? I'm gonna go with I'm gonna take the slant of saying planning a proposal is a little harder, in the sense that you feel a little bit more riding on it, because it could go really, really great, or it could go absolutely awful. So it's a little harder in the sense of like the amount of stress, how much time you're going to put into it, because ultimately guarding Wemby, you're going to fail. So like, it's actually not that hard. Just stay from him until you can't anymore, until he dunks on you, shoots over you. I actually don't think the strategizing of that is all that hard. It's because it's not going to work regardless. So I would say with the proposal, it's a little harder because it takes more work, because it could go great or could go terrible. Mine went great, by the way. If you want to hear that story, you gotta come see me personally. I won't tell it on the pod, not because it was bad. It just takes a while to explain it. It was kind of corny, but I thought it was dope. I'll also say to that question, it's harder because you got to be more creative. If you're going to do a proposal, you got to be creative about it and make it you at the same time. There's no creativity in guarding Victor Wembanyama. It's just a losing effort. All right, so Deli's got these reggae questions for me because word is getting out. I'm a very big reggae fan. This only happened within like the last year though too, so I'm new. Deli and I have connected on some artists. He's put me on some things. I'm putting him on. If I could listen to only one reggae song the rest of my life, maybe this will change later, but right now the album is still recent enough that it's still always stuck in my head. It's called Down Bad Vibes by Tribal Seeds, and I think the reason I love this song so much is because when you hear you look at the title, Down Bad Vibes, I thought it was gonna be like some like emo type thing, and I was like, that's not like normally their style. What's that? And I listened to it, and it's actually saying like down with the bad vibes, it's a very hype song. It's like fast paced. It's one of those songs, like I said, I like stuff that's gonna go on my running playlist. That's definitely a running playlist kind of song. And that's a little different than most reggae songs you might be thinking, because normally it's like chill out, just vibe and take it easy. They've got so many horns, and like they're just so good musically, and they bring so much to the table instrumentally that they've got a lot of different styles. They're like the real chill out ones, real hype songs to kind of get you going. So that's my pick. Tribal Seeds. If you don't know them, get to know them. I've gotten a couple of student tips so far. I won't put everybody on. They're actually like one of my favorite bands I've ever heard before. Same as the Parlor Mob. Both of them are under 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. So get hip to the deep cuts. There's good music out there. Tribal Seeds, check them out. All right, so rather dunk on somebody in a packed gym or get shouted out by my favorite reggae artist, as you just heard, is Tribal Seeds. Given that neither of these things have ever happened, I'm gonna go with the first one. I'm gonna go with dunking on somebody in a packed gym. I don't really have any like highlight dunks to my name. I can dunk. I've only had just like a share of rim grazers in my career. And so if I could actually dunk on somebody in a game, that would be like taking what I can do to new heights. So I'd have to go with that one. That would be like at the top of the list on my career highlight reel as well. So we would have to go with that one. If I could play one-on-one against any historical figure, I'm gonna go with Bob Dylan. If you guys have seen my backpack around campus, you would know I'm a very big Bob Dylan fan, probably the biggest you've met. I'm gonna go with him because he actually really, really loves sports. I've seen some videos of him playing basketball. He's not that tall, so with my pick, I fully intend to win and dominate him, quite frankly. I'm not gonna pick any historical figure that I think I'm gonna lose that game to. So like Abraham Lincoln's out, he's tall, like he might have secret game, but I'm gonna go with Bob Dylan, ball it up on him. And if you guys haven't seen it, go see A Complete Unknown in theaters. Shout out Timothy Chalamet. He absolutely killed that role. Get hip, y'all. You gotta get hip to that Bob Dylan music. Thank you for watching. My name is Jordan Greynolds, and I finally pulled my shirt out of my bag after we recorded the entire thing. But now that I got my Deli shirt on, you guys officially know that I've been delivered. Thanks for watching.
Definitely, that's the beat going right there, right?
You like that?
Like that.
We're definitely beating the Lakers, no doubt about it. I don't care if y'all got Luka or who you bring in. We're winning that.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, man.
What is a little bit? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, um, oh, so, all right. So this is a personal question.
The thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, let me throw my deli. I need to know that I have it in my bag. So, what we'll do, I'll put it on right now. Thanks for watching. There we go.
There you go.
Sweet brother.
Thanks, man.